She'll smile like heaven and destroy you like hell. You think you've found your forever, but what you've really signed up for is a lifetime sentence in a psychological war zone, a battle you never knew you were fighting until it's far too late. Today, we're not talking about red flags. We're talking about full-blown psychological landmines, the kind of woman who doesn't just break hearts, she breaks men. And if you don't learn to spot her now, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Let's begin. 1. She's addicted to chaos, not love. It doesn't start with abuse, it starts with chemistry, that thrilling, all-consuming, breathless feeling that convinces you she's the one. But what you're calling spark is actually your nervous system sensing danger. You mistake the roller coaster for romance, and she knows exactly how to keep you on that ride. A woman addicted to emotional chaos doesn't crave love. She craves unpredictability. She was raised in it, molded by it, and now replicates it in every intimate relationship she enters. She doesn't feel safe in calm, stable love. She feels lost, unseen, unimportant. So she shakes things up constantly. She'll pick fights on your birthday, question your loyalty after a peaceful weekend, blow up over a misinterpreted text just when things feel right. Why? Because her inner programming equates drama with intimacy. She doesn't know how to feel close without conflict. Her childhood didn't teach her that love is security. It taught her that love is unstable, temporary, painful. So even if you're the most grounded man she's ever met, she will pull you into her storm, not because she hates you, but because storms are the only weather she understands. You will find yourself adapting, walking on eggshells, managing her moods instead of living your life. You'll suppress your own emotions to avoid triggering hers. You'll stop expressing needs, dreams, or frustrations. Not because you're weak, but because your nervous system is in survival mode. And the scariest part, you'll start mistaking this anxiety for passion. You'll believe the lie that love must hurt to feel real. But real love doesn't feel like this. Real love is peaceful, predictable, emotionally safe. By the time you realize what's happening, you're addicted too. Addicted to the highs of reconciliation, the dopamine hits of making up, and the illusion that this cycle means something deep. But here's the truth. The woman addicted to chaos is not falling in love with you. She's pulling you into a reenactment of her trauma, and you're playing the role of her emotional stabilizer, a job that will eventually destroy your sense of self. So when you see a pattern of intense ups and downs, when every moment of peace is followed by self-created war, recognize it for what it is, a psychological trap disguised as love. And the longer you stay, the harder it is to remember that relationships aren't supposed to feel like surviving a battlefield. 2. She destroys boundaries, then blames you for the ruins. At first, it feels like passion. She's intense, bold, unapologetically real, but beneath the surface is a dangerous truth. She doesn't believe in mutual respect. She believes in domination. She'll cross boundaries subtly at first. She'll mock your need for alone time. She'll roll her eyes when you ask for respectful conversation. And when you finally stand up for yourself, she'll accuse you of being controlling or emotionally unavailable. This is how she works. She confuses resistance with rejection. Any attempt you make to protect your own space or dignity becomes proof that you don't love her enough. Healthy women see boundaries as love instructions, guidance for connection. Toxic women see boundaries as walls to tear down. So she'll test you over and over. She'll push you to see how far you'll bend, and the more you bend, the more you lose yourself. She'll give you the silent treatment when she doesn't get her way. She'll withhold affection to punish you. She'll explode when she senses she's losing control. These aren't emotional outbursts. They're psychological tactics. You'll start thinking, if I just explain it better, she'll understand. But she's not listening for understanding. She's listening for ammunition. Eventually, you'll stop setting boundaries altogether. You'll surrender your needs to maintain the peace. And once that happens, you no longer exist in the relationship, only she does. But here's the kicker. She'll still blame you for everything. You're the one who changed. You're the one who shut down. You're the one who's no longer the man she fell for. What she won't say is that she broke down every line you tried to draw until you became unrecognizable even to yourself. A woman like this doesn't want a partner. She wants power. And once she's trained you to ignore your own needs, she'll resent you for becoming weak, even though she's the one who weakened you. Never marry a woman who mocks your boundaries, because what begins as small violations ends with complete emotional erasure, and you'll be left wondering how you became a stranger in your own life. 3. She turns emotion into manipulation, and you into the villain. In a healthy relationship, emotions are bridges. They connect, they heal, They allow two people to see and support each other. But in a toxic relationship, emotions become weapons. And the moment you disagree with her, you'll be painted as the villain in her carefully constructed story. She cries not because she's hurt, but because she knows tears disarm you. She gets angry not to resolve anything, but to put you on defense. Every emotion she expresses is designed to control the emotional weather of the relationship. And here's what makes it so dangerous. She always makes it your fault. She's sad, you weren't supportive enough, she's angry. You disrespected her, she's anxious. You didn't make her feel secure. No matter what she feels, you are somehow the cause. And over time, you start believing it. You become hyper-attuned to her emotions. You walk into the room and scan her face like a soldier scanning a battlefield. Is she mad? Is she withdrawn? What did I do wrong? You stop living, you start performing. This isn't love, this is emotional slavery. You'll apologize for things you didn't do. You'll change your tone, your schedule, your truth, all to keep her calm. And when she senses you've lost your balance, she'll push harder. She doesn't want to resolve conflict, she wants to dominate it, and she'll never admit fault. Every disagreement ends with you apologizing. Every moment of vulnerability from you is used against you later. You'll become a man constantly explaining himself to a woman who has no intention of understanding you. Never marry a woman who weaponizes emotions, because she's not expressing herself to connect, she's expressing herself to control, and in that dynamic, love cannot survive. 4. She confuses intensity for intimacy. And so do you love should feel like peace, not a panic attack. But with her, it feels like emotional whiplash. One moment, she's all over you, passionate, affectionate, obsessed. The next, cold, distant, withholding. You become addicted to the highs, because they're the only relief from the crushing lows. And that's exactly how trauma bonding works. You're not in love, you're trauma-linked. The cycle of extreme conflict followed by euphoric reconnection triggers powerful chemical reactions in your brain, dopamine, oxytocin, adrenaline, and soon the chaos feels like connection. The instability feels like depth. She doesn't create intimacy, she creates dependency. She pulls you in only to push you away. She gives you just enough affection to keep you from leaving, but never enough consistency to feel safe. You start mistaking survival for love. You confuse your emotional hunger for proof that she matters. Real intimacy grows in calm, in presence, in mutual safety, but to her, that feels boring. So she keeps the fire burning, not to warm you, but to keep you from looking elsewhere. You become a man living for the next good day, the next apology, the next perfect moment where it finally feels right. But those moments are crumbs, and you deserve a feast. Never marry a woman who mistakes intensity for love, because the fire she brings won't light your future, it'll burn it to the ground. 5. She sees you as a tool, not a teammate. In a true partnership, two people build together, emotionally, financially, spiritually. But with her, it's not about building, it's about taking. She doesn't love you for who you are. She loves what you can provide. Your money, your emotional strength, your social credibility, your time. She treats the relationship like a transaction, and you're the product. You'll notice it in the way she reacts to your struggles. If you lose a job, she loses respect. If you set boundaries, she withholds love. If you pursue passions that don't benefit her, she calls you selfish. This is not love, it's extraction. Emotionally, she demands constant attention. Every conversation revolves around her needs, her frustrations, her reality. When you bring up your own struggles, she tunes out, deflects, or turns it into how you're the problem. Financially, she acts entitled to everything you earn, but her money is always separate. You'll pay for dinners, trips, and emergencies while she spends on luxuries. And if you ever question the imbalance, you'll be labeled insecure, controlling, or not man enough. Socially, she isolates you. Friends who see through her manipulation, she'll accuse them of being toxic. Family who asks questions, she'll create drama until you cut them off. She wants your entire support system to orbit around her emotional needs. What you don't realize is that you're slowly being drained. Your identity is eroding, your bank account is shrinking, your mental health is deteriorating, and she doesn't care, as long as she keeps getting what she wants. You become less of a man in your own eyes, not because you are weak, but because you've been manipulated into serving a woman who only values you when you're giving and discards you when you need. She'll praise your success, but only when it serves her image. She'll support your goals, but only if she gets a slice of the rewards. And if you ever stop giving or start asking for reciprocity, she'll either guilt you or replace you. Never marry a woman who uses your love as leverage, because no matter what you give, it'll never be enough for someone who only sees you as a means to an end. 6. She weaponizes children, courts, and control. When you marry a psychologically toxic woman and things fall apart, and they will, the divorce doesn't just break the marriage. It becomes an all-out war. She won't walk away. She'll burn it all down. If you have children, she won't protect them from the conflict. She'll weaponize them. She'll turn them against you, twist your words, sabotage your connection, and position herself as the victim. Not for the kids' benefit, but to maintain power. You'll watch your own children become messengers in a war they never asked to fight. She'll parentify them, forcing them to manage her emotions while vilifying you for doing what's right. And the legal system, that becomes her battlefield. She'll drag you through endless court proceedings, fight over assets she doesn't even want, just to bleed you dry. Your savings, your retirement, your ability to rebuild all become collateral damage in her crusade to punish you. Even child support and alimony become tools for control. She'll claim victimhood to maximize payments while limiting your access to the very children you're paying to support. And when you finally think it's over, she'll find new ways to reopen the wounds through legal loopholes, false allegations, or relentless emotional sabotage. She'll use technology to spy on you. Track your location, monitor your messages, build a narrative that frames her as the brave survivor, while you become the monster in her curated version of reality. And the worst part? She'll play the long game. Years later, when you've moved on, built peace, maybe even found love again, she'll find a way to inject chaos back into your life. Because in her mind, you don't get to be happy without her permission. Never marry a woman who uses love as leverage, because once that love turns to resentment, you're not facing a breakup. You're entering psychological warfare. 7. She can't handle stability. So, she sabotages it. Most people crave peace, but not her. The moment life feels good, she'll find a way to destroy it, because to her, happiness is suspicious. Calm feels dangerous. Stability triggers her fear of abandonment. You'll start to notice the pattern. You get a raise, she starts a fight that night. You plan a peaceful weekend, she picks an argument over a text she misread. You show her consistent love, she accuses you of being too soft, too boring, or not trying hard enough. Why? Because emotional chaos is her comfort zone. She grew up in environments where love meant walking on eggshells, where calm was the silence before the storm. So now, in adulthood, she recreates that chaos, not consciously, but compulsively. She sabotages because she doesn't know how to accept joy. When things are going well, her subconscious screams, something bad is about to happen. So she makes sure it does, and here's the cruel twist. You start adjusting to it. You minimize your joy, you downplay your success. You lower your expectations for peace, just to avoid triggering her next meltdown. Eventually, you stop celebrating, you stop dreaming, you stop thriving, you become a shadow of the man you used to be, because every step forward gets punished. So you start standing still. Never marry a woman who confuses joy with danger, because the peace you ignore in the beginning will become the very thing you're begging for in the end. 8. She'll make you forget what love is supposed to feel like. After enough years in her orbit, you won't just question your relationship, you'll question reality. You'll forget what real love even feels like. You'll start thinking that walking on eggshells is normal, that constant emotional turbulence is just how relationships work, that being belittled, gaslit, manipulated, and controlled is just the price you pay to be loved. But this isn't love, it's psychological erosion. You'll find yourself justifying the abuse, saying things like, she's just passionate, or she had a hard childhood, or it's not that bad when she's not mad. You'll rewrite your own memories to protect her narrative. And the worst damage, it happens inside you. You lose confidence. You doubt your intuition. You forget how to speak up. You forget how to trust. You stop recognizing the man in the mirror because you've been edited piece by piece to fit inside her chaotic story. Then one day, a good woman enters your life, calm, honest, emotionally healthy, and you can't accept her because calm feels boring, honesty feels suspicious, emotional safety feels like a trap. That's what a toxic woman does. She rewires your nervous system to expect dysfunction, and anything healthier feels off. If you stay too long, you don't just lose her, you lose your ability to receive real love in the future. Never marry a woman who makes you doubt your own reality, because long after she's gone, her voice will still echo in your mind, questioning your worth, your truth, your identity, and healing from that takes years you'll never get back. Gentlemen, remember this. You don't marry potential. You marry patterns. Pay attention to how she treats the world, not just how she treats you during the honeymoon phase, because in the end, the biggest regret isn't marrying the wrong woman. It's staying long enough to become a stranger to yourself. Choose wisely. Your peace is priceless.